What's going on, everybody? The original Mako back with some more Vampire Survivors content, and the last in this series of tier lists comes with the Arcanas that we're going to be talking about today. So can't wait to get into it. Before we get into it, be sure you check the links down below. As always, I'm probably streaming right now as you're watching this, so if you want to watch a really fun and cool and exciting stream, check out the Twitch link right now. And be sure to hit that subscribe button. We hit over 3,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for that. I really do appreciate it. But now we're on our way to 4,000, so hit the subscribe button. There's going to be plenty of content on this game and tons of other games coming soon. So hitting subscribe helps me out, and it helps you see all of the content coming out on a pretty regular basis. So check that out. There's also a link down there to become a member on YouTube today, which helps out the channel a ton and actually, allows me to really do what I do. So becoming a member today would help out, and I'd really appreciate it a lot. But that being said, let's go ahead and start talking about the Arcanas. So as of right now, there are only 8 Arcanas in the game, and there are plans to have 22, I believe. So this tier list will get updated, but I figured we'd go ahead and make one on the 8 that are currently in the game now. So I'm actually going to go in order of how they appear in the game. So I'm going to go in number order. And once again, the Arcanas are relatively new. So most of these, some of them you might recognize, but some of them you might be like, what are these? So I'm obviously going to explain each one and give the exact description for each. So this first one here is Arcana 4, which is Awake. It gives you +3 revivals, and consuming a revival gives you +10% max health, +1 armor, and +5% might, area, duration, and speed. So basically you die and you get buffed. And the more you die, the more you get buffed over and over and over. Yeah, that's A tier. Actually, no, it's S tier. Now, obviously, a lot of these are really, really good. I'm just going to be comparing them to other things. Which means Okay. Hello. I'm going to put it into A tier. It is an S tier one, I think, but for my personal runs, once again, this is my tier list. It's my opinion. For my personal runs, when I'm going for super high kill games, this is kind of fallen out of the meta for me compared to some other ones. It is still a viable option for sure. There's no doubt about it, because obviously the +3 revives buffs the Feregis, but dying buffs everything else. So you're getting a buff no matter what when you take this. Guaranteed buff, guaranteed little bit of safety if you're just doing a normal run and you want to just get to 30 minutes. This gives you a little bit of safety and a better chance to do that. It's a great Arcana, super, super useful, and just will help you out in a lot of your runs. Next up, we have this one here, which is Arcana 5, and it is called Chaos in the Dark Night. And it is overall projectile speed continuously changes between -50% and +200% over 10 seconds. I'm not really a big fan of these. Same as the other one that's similar to this. For me, the -50% can be almost detrimental, like almost just you're actually just gonna die because your projectiles are moving so slow. And the +200% is fun and can be really good with a lot of projectile speed buffs and make the game super just fun and funny to watch. But in terms of it being really super useful, it's not for me. I think there are a lot of other Arcanas that are just much, much better. I don't want to put it into F tier because it's not F tier. It's not like something you would never want to take for any reason, but it's just not good. The butthole, the sun that has collapsed into a butthole is just not a very good Arcana. So that's my opinion on that one. Next up, we have number 6, the Saraband of Healing, which is this one here, this little circle. Healing is doubled. All of your healing is doubled. And recovering health damages nearby enemies for the same amount of health recovered. So if you, Floor Chicken normally heals for 30. It now heals for 60, and you will deal 60 damage in an AoE radius around you. If you have the power-ups that have you recovering health per second, that will be doubled, and you will be dealing that damage every single second. If you have the new weapon, the Celestial Dusting, which constantly recovers 1 HP, that now recovers 2 HP and is constantly dealing an additional 2 damage per second. Saraband of Healing I'm going to put into C. It's very fun. It's interesting. It's cool. In the long run, it doesn't provide a ton of extra damage. Now, if you're, if you go all in on it and you take the upgraded whip, the upgraded garlic, celestial dusting, you take increased health recovery, you take, is there anything else I'm missing? I don't think so. But if you take all of that stuff in one run and you just want to go full balls to the wall, nuts to butts on the Saraband of Healing, then it would be really fun and probably end up doing a good amount of damage, honestly. But until then, it doesn't do a ton of damage. Doubling the healing is really nice, though, especially on the new map, the Bone Zone, which, with the normal characters, with non-secret characters, it is really hard to get through 30 minutes. So having additional healing can help that a lot. And yeah, I think it's useful. There's nothing that stands out like, whoa, but it's good, and it gets the job done. I think if there were a little bit more healing in the game, or if this did some sort of like, I don't know, maybe if it did like a chain lightning for each heal that chained to different enemies, it'd be a little better. But regardless, it's still good and just a solid thing to have overall. What's next? Next up is number 7, the Iron Blue Will, which is this bad boy right here. The Naruto shooting his Rasengan. And that is listed weapon projectiles gain up to 3 bounces and might pass through enemies and walls. The weapons listed are the knife, the upgraded knives, the axe, the upgraded axe, the 2 guns, not the upgraded guns, but the 2 guns, and the cart. So, Iron Blue Will. Where do we slap that bad boy? We slap it right in S tier. Having knives, axes, upgraded knives, and upgraded axes be able to bounce off of enemies up to 3 times is so good for what I usually do, which is high kill runs. It is incredible. It is amazing. It is so good for dealing more damage. And another case where projectile speed really, really helps, because you're going to have these things bouncing at like insane amounts of speed, which is going to give you just more overall kills. But it's so perfect for high kill runs, and just once again, adding more enemies that can get hit with your bullets or with your projectiles any way you can is amazing, and having it up to 3 times, it makes it even more amazing, especially with the upgraded knives, because there are so many knives that'll bounce, but it's just good. It's really, really good for an Arcana, and that's why it's going into S tier. Super fun to mess around with, super fun to use, super useful, and is a pretty big staple, in my opinion. Next up, we have number 11, Arcana number 11, which is the Waltz of Pearls, which is extremely similar to the last one. Listed weapon projectiles gain up to 3 bounces. So they do not gain pierce, but they do gain up to 3 bounces. These weapons are the wand, the upgraded wand, the fire wand, the upgraded fire wand, the cross, the upgraded cross, and the cart. Once again, cart is on the list. Another S tier. If we're comparing the two, for me personally, the Waltz of Pearls is number 1, just because on high kill runs, I obviously, everybody uses Leda, the giant testicle. And Leda starts with the upgraded wand. So if you start with the upgraded wand and you have it able to bounce between enemies, you are going to be killing every enemy on the screen extremely quickly for a long time. So It's really good. It's really, really good. And obviously having the Fire Wand able to bounce, if you do that with the Fire Wand Arcana, it can lead to a ton of damage and a ton of fun and just crazy numbers and explosions on screen. So Waltz of Pearls is extremely fantastic for the exact same reason that the Iron Blue Will was. So next up on our list is 16, Arcana 16, which is Slash. This enables critical hits for listed weapons and doubles overall crit damage. The listed weapons are Knife, upgraded Knives, Whip, upgraded Whip, Axe, upgraded Axe, and the upgraded Cross. Not the normal cross, just the upgraded cross. This one is going to be another one in A tier, and it's going to go ahead of the Awake. This is really, really good. The damage output that these weapons will finish with, if you have Slash, is astronomically higher than if you don't. Obviously, enabling the Knives and Axes to crit are huge, but also doubling that crit damage is ridiculous. It is so much extra damage output, and it's just super good. Ever since this came out, like Death Spiral tops damage charts, depending on when you get it. Obviously, the DPS and total damage output is just bonkers, and it's just a really, really good Arcana. And if you're using the right weapons, it makes them hit pretty hard. Not gonna lie. I haven't actually tested it with the upgraded Cross though, so that might be something I have to do at some point. But yeah, it turns the Axes and Knives into literal death machines. So A tier for the Slash Arcana. Next up, we have 17, which is the Lost and Found Painting. And overall duration of weapons continuously changes between minus 50% and plus 200% over 10 seconds. I feel like I don't really need to explain this one too much. It's the exact same here. I think duration is actually slightly worse because projectile speed, you can at least have a lot of fun with like seeing projectile speeds go absolutely sonic speed around when we have the plus 200%. Duration, you don't really get to see that happen as much, so it's not quite as good, but they're both very, very close as being the worst Arcanas in the game right now, and that's just my opinion. Now, it's not like they're bad, but they're just not good. So another D tier for the Lost and Found Painting. And last but certainly not least, we have number 19, the Heart of Fire. Listed weapon... Wait, is that 19 or is that... No, that is 19. Anyway, listed weapon projectiles explode on impact, light sources explode, and character explodes when damaged. So the Fire Wand and upgraded Fire Wand, those projectiles explode, and the torches that you find like in the Mad Forest, these little guys right here, those will explode when you hit them, and you yourself, when you get hit, will explode and deal damage to enemies. Heart of Fire. Heart of Fire. I have to rate it for what it is now. And for what it is now, I think I have to put it in B tier, objectively speaking. And here's why. Don't start suing me yet. Listen, all of the Arcanas above it affect so many weapons. This affects like 6. This affects like 6. This affects like 6. This affects every single weapon that you own when you die. This only affects 2. The Fire Wand and the upgraded Fire Wand. Now, granted, the effect that this gets is insane. Like really, really, really good. The explosive damage is ridiculous, and the damage numbers skyrocket. So if you want to see as high damage numbers as you can get, even post-nerf, this thing still hits like a bus. But it is only one weapon that is affected by it. Or 2, technically. The Fire Wand and the upgraded version. So yes, it is really, really good, but you have to be using the Fire Wand to get any use out of it, and that's the only reason I'm not putting it higher. I think in terms of its effect, if we're just going based off the effect, then yeah, it is at least A tier. But because it doesn't affect as many things, you have to be doing something very specific. You have to run the Fire Wand in order to get good use out of this. You can still get use out of it from destroying torches and from enemies blowing up when they hit you, or from you blowing up when enemies hit you. But that's not why you're going to use this Arcana. You're going to use it for the Fire Wand. So it is a really good one, but it is so weapon specific that I think I'm going to put it into B tier. That's just my opinion on the matter. Sue me if you want. Actually, don't sue me, please. But anyways, that's it. That is the current Arcana tier list. A lot of these are fun to use and mess around with. Like I said, I don't think any of them are bad, especially from like C up. These are all good Arcanas to have. Some I think are just better than others. And like I said, this is for how I use them and my runs. So, yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know which one's your favorite down below. Like I said, this will be updated a ton as we get. We'll probably wait until we get at least like 4 to 6 more before we make a new tier list on them. But regardless, yeah, it's been a ton of fun messing around with the new ones for sure. Like I said, be sure you check those links down below. Let me know your thoughts down below as well. Hit that subscribe button. Become a member today. Hopefully you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you all for so much support. I really do appreciate it. I love each and every one of your faces, and I will catch you all in the next video.